they've tried to counter to what Indiana does rather than just say we're a 68 win team and you're going to match us.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Yacht Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, NBA Conference Finals recap, New York Knicks coaching search, that's a disaster, and is the WNBA doing a good job at building interest? We'll talk about that, but first, segment one. We are a magazine-style show. We tape weekly. As we tape, series is tied. Next game is Monday, and then it's like Wednesday for whatever. But Indiana OKC has been one, highly entertaining, and two, kind of hard to call. But our panel said it was going to be a little harder than people thought. I had OKC in 6, so we brought out Mike King, who was excused last week, fans. We told you he was excused. He's coming back. Mike, give me your thoughts on the series as our favorite administrator, Robert Abney, and I sit back and let you go.
It's tighter than I was hoping for. The Pacers have been the best defense they've faced. The pace has gotten to them. You could see that it's forcing them to change their style. SGA has been tired. They've tried to counter to what Indiana does rather than just say we're a 68 win team and you're going to match us, which unlike the analysts who don't actually watch the sport, they play solitaire on their phones during the games, the coach was right for doing it. The double big lineup can work in spurts, but Indiana gets wide open threes whenever they want it against that lineup. And when they changed the lineup in game one, they were winning by 20 points for a lot of that game until the end. I look at this game and say, best of three. You won 68 games for a reason. And that's so these last 3 games, you could have 2 at home. Game 1, you should have won. Game 4, they should have won. So the series is right where it should be. It should be 2-2. OKC had no business winning game 4, but SGA was the MVP. They had no business losing game 1, but Halliburton did the crazy Halliburton stuff at the end. So we're right where we should be. OKC's been very, very, very good at home. I like where I'm at. I don't love where I'm at. Vegas loves where I'm at. I like where I'm at. But I do think Jalen Williams has looked very, very good. Chet, especially in that fourth quarter, his defense in the last few minutes in clutch time, people going against him were 0 for 4. He had, I think, 2 blocks, steal, whatever he had. He's been great. Best rim protector in the league this year, I believe, in the time he limited time. But Indiana's good. Everyone wanted to say this was like a guaranteed win, and that made me nervous heading into the series. I still think OKC is the better team, and I think they should win. But Indiana's better than advertised. But again, I got the best player, and at the end of the game, when it slows down, I know he can get a shot. And for Indiana, I don't know what they're going to do at the end of the game, and that's why moving forward, I feel like I'm in a good spot. But the one reaction I'll have besides that, NBA Twitter and these stupid podcasts, all they want to talk about is foul baiting. SGA had 2 free throws with 3 minutes to go. 2. He ended up with 10 because you held Jalen Williams' arm, obviously, during inbounds. And you knocked him down before the inbound pass. That's 2 free throws. And then you fouled because you were down. That's 4 free throws at the end of the game. So he only got 4 free throws by fouls. What are we talking about here? The guy has his arm on the shoulder and he goes up. That's a foul. That's not foul baiting. That's a foul. That Foster wasn't great, but that's where I'm against. The foul baiting stuff did not happen in that game.
And this is a perfect segue. So, Robert Abney, you are here, sir. And I have a question before I let you go and give your thoughts. The end of the game, referee was on the end line. SGA clearly took a few extra travel steps. No whistle. Do they have conversations about that, or what do you think? I need your professional, consulting opinion on that, and then let me know your thoughts on the series because officiating was all over NBA Twitter, and I'm just going to defer to officials. Talk to me.
Well, so again, I don't know NBA rules. I really don't know NBA travel rules. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it looked like a travel to me, but is it a travel under NBA rules? Maybe. I do know this, that if I'm watching a play and if I'm officiating a play, I'm looking for, okay, which foot is his pivot foot and which foot is it, especially which foot is his pivot foot when he picks up the ball. And if I'm not sure, then he's going to get that, then I'm going to say, okay, it's the foot that's just now coming down. Okay, that's the pivot foot, right? Because you don't want to blow your whistle if you're not sure. And that's, in that situation, I guarantee you that's what happened. He wanted to be sure and it looked like a travel. And I don't know NBA travel rules, but that would be my thought. As far as the series go, the thing that has struck me the most, and Mike kind of touched on this, Rick Carlisle is out coaching Mark Daigneault because he is, Indiana is kind of dictating what's happening, and OKC is having to react to what is happening. Rick Carlisle was on TV after game 2 saying, well, SGA is going to get his 34 and, that's just what's going to happen. And then they came out in game 3 and basically within the rules beat the hell out of him and wore him out. And that forced, an OKC game 4 had, okay, well, how are we going to adjust? Well, they quit having SGA bring the ball up for most of the game, right? So I think the thing that's in, and it's important to note, and I agree with Mike, the series is where it should be because OKC should have won the first game, Indiana should have won game 4. And that said, Oklahoma City, they should still be favored. They got 2 games at home. If Oklahoma City loses game 4, the series is going to be over. It's just a matter of, I don't think Oklahoma City can win the series if they're down 3-1. It's going to be interesting to me to see, can OKC get out in front of the Pacers and make them react? Because they haven't done that. Can they make Indiana react? And if they can do that, then they can still win. They'll win the series and they'll win the next 2 games. But they haven't shown they can do that yet. And do I still think they're going to win the series? Absolutely. You got two games at home, and you're just better. They're just better. So. Yeah. But it's been really entertaining, a lot of fun to watch. And the other thing about OKC, and I love this, you realize in game 4, they were 3 for 16 from 3. And it's not the 3. I mean, the 3 is notable because they usually shoot it better than that. But a modern NBA team in 2025 only shooting 16 3-point shots. That's crazy.
And that's where, with the officiating stuff, the free throws are about the same. OKC ends up with 5 more in game 4, but they got fouled at the end on purpose, right? So it was about the same. OKC barely shot any threes. The Pacers jacked up threes all game. OKC was in the paint the entire game. The Pacers weren't. And then people complain because OKC gets calls. Well, who's going to get the call? The team jacking up threes or the team attacking the rim? And no one talks. Again, the analysts are too busy playing solitaire. No one talks about it on these shows. But there's a reason OKC shoots the free throws. It's because they're trying to go towards the basket. They're not just taking 3-point shots. And I think that makes sense. Like, the fact that it was close and OKC was attacking and didn't shoot a lot of threes, to me says OKC's not getting the whistle that they should be getting. It's actually the opposite of what NBA Twitter would want you to believe. But I'm also biased.
So Coach Adams has been watching the games, and I'm actually watching the games with point five. Especially the last game, it was one of the first games in the series that I watched from start to finish. A couple of things I've noticed. One, Indiana is providing token pressure, which is not used as much as it should be used. And what I mean by that, fans, is they're escorting the guy down the court, which makes the first pass into the offense, the entry pass, just a little off kilter and throws off the timing a little bit. On the flip side, OKC is not providing any resistance. So for Indiana, the first pass is a clean pass, which means the second class is clean pass, third pass. So they're able to enter. So then as I watched the fourth quarter of game 4, on the offensive end, SGA took over and was extremely aggressive. As somebody who coached an extremely aggressive scoring guard that you get to see periodically on the show, it was give him the blasted ball and allow him the opportunity to create. And there was nothing you could do about him. He's hit jump shots, in shots. He's creating plays. And when the double team comes, he actually did give up a couple, and they stuck it in the fourth quarter. So with that being said, watching the rest of the series, watch the first pass on both sides, fans, and see if they can get into their offense clean. What type of pressure are they given? And then second, secondary is becoming primary, and that's the key to the game. In game 3, some guy from Indiana I've never heard of, and as the coach who did it on the scouting report, looked down the bench, was like, who's he? And the coach looks at you, and you're like, dog, I got nothing. And then on the other side, the bench on Oklahoma City, they got to remember they can play too. Sometimes they forget that, I'm good too. So these are the things I'm thinking about. Robert, any thoughts as we wrap up, because we're going to let King close?
It would not shock me if we saw OKC actually show some full court pressure periodically as the next step in the progression, because if OKC is going to have somebody besides SGA bring the ball up, well then, okay, we're going to show this periodically. They won't stay in it very long because nobody does that, and NBA players are too good. They'll figure it out. But when you show that stuff periodically, you can steal a turnover or two, force a bad shot.
All right, King, take us out. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was going to say I that would not shock me. And again, I want to see OKC dictate something because they haven't done that.
Yeah, Mike, you have a final word, sir.
The last 5 minutes, they started doing a Jalen Williams SGA pick and roll, got the switches they wanted. They got Nesmith on SGA, and that's when he took advantage. It worked every single time they did it. They saved it for the end. I'm wondering if we see more of that in this game. I expect a big game from the guys on the bench, because that's what always happens at home. Aaron Wiggins was great game 2, and then he kind of disappeared for 2 games because for some reason that's what happens for the role players. But I expect him to have a big game. Caruso, I mean, he arguably, if OKC wins, he's arguably the player of the finals MVP, although it'll go to SGA if the Thunder win. But Caruso's been great. I don't expect that to change. I want to see more out of Cason Wallace. That's what I'll say to close. Cason Wallace, who I think he's the guy I want to keep outside the big 3. He's number 4 in terms of if I'm OKC, who I'm building around. But this hasn't been his best series, and he's got all the talent. So I think for them to win 2 of the next 3, he needs to step up.
All right, Mike, you still got OKC in 6.
That's where I was, 6 at the start. I'll keep. If that's what I said at the beginning, I'll keep it. If I didn't go 5, then I'm still alive. I'll say
I
okay.
think you said
6.
5, but I tried to give you an out, but you brought it back up. Robert, what do you got? OKC 6, Indiana, what you got?
I have said all along OKC at 6. There's no reason to change.
And I agree with you. I said OKC at 6. There is no reason to change. That's why it's called a series. So, fans, when we get back in segment 2, I'm talking about what I didn't want to talk about last week, and they still didn't fix it. So now I got to talk about it. The Knicks coaching search. We'll be right back on the Hot Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real-life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.ckasafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the Hot Coaches Podcast. And in segment 2, the New York Knicks coaching search. The New York Knicks are planning to meet with former Sacramento Kings coach Mike Brown and former Memphis Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins this coming week about their open coaching position. Let's just say they have been turned down to talk to coaches from across the country and around the globe. The New York Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau, which is their right, based upon, I believe, player feedback, organizational feedback. But this is not very good. So, Robert, you have been a part of a number of searching and filling positions. Any critique you would give the Knicks on how they went about filling this hole in their on their job chart?
Why in the world do they keep trying to go after all of these head coaches who are currently employed, and the people they work for can say, no, you don't get to talk to them because they're under contract? I mean, that you want to fire Tibbs, fine. I submit that Tibbs was part of the problem, but Tibbs was not the significant part of the problem with the Knicks, in my opinion. But now you just look silly because you can't find anybody to interview, and it makes it look like nobody wants to work for you. Why don't you? It can't be that hard to find people who want to work for the Knicks. I'm sorry, it's an NBA coaching job. There's only 30 of those. Seems like you should be able to find somebody who wants to do that for you. Am I wrong?
Somebody's going to take your money every time.
Yes.
Mike, and fans, when Mike and I worked together, we worked for 5 different principals in a 10-year span. So we understand about turnover better than we want to know. Mike, as you're looking at the Knicks try to find the next person after a pretty significantly positive year, what are you thinking, sir?
Well, thinking of the what you just said, the 5 leaders we had in a short span of time. When we had a good leader, you felt it, right? Like I could think of 1 or 2 where all of a sudden the building changed. So I'm not mad at them for getting rid of the guy at the top. What I'm mad at is that's not where the issue was the most. The issue is the roster construction, the players that you didn't keep. Pacers got Obi Toppin, and he's pretty good. He's been one of their best players in the series. He was a Knick. Thunder got Hartenstein. He was a Knick last year. Like they're good players that used to wear that uniform that are important pieces on championship teams. So the team you're building doesn't match up with what you need in today's NBA to get to that next step, and that's depth. And they let all the good depth pieces go. And now this year you had Tibbs playing 5 guys or 6 guys for a lot of the year, and the bench doing absolutely nothing. Some of that's on him. Some of that's on the GM. You're also building around a guard who the Pacers' plan was, I'm going to attack you, and a big who the Pacers' plan was, I'm going to attack you. So your 2 best players, that's who I want to go after, and I want to go after them every single play. That's a tough 2 players to build around because, again, you could go after Halliburton and SGA, but you're not going after them because they're bad defenders. You're going after them because everyone else is better. That's different than I want Brunson on me because I'm going to beat him. I want Towns on me because you can't guard me at all. So I look at the Knicks and I think it's more roster construction than it is blaming the coach. But I also don't like, well, what was your plan? Why do you have to get rid of him day 1? Why don't you wait and see what's out there first before saying, okay, like these teams, they just want to fire them the first day when you're under contract. Let's keep you around a little bit. Hey, what's available to us? Nothing? Oh, let's keep Tibbs then. That's where I'm at there.
All right. So putting my admin hat on, a couple of things. One, you picked these groceries, Tibbs didn't. 2, I'm in the school of if your best player is a midget, you're not going to win a championship. I'm sorry. Call me mean, call me crazy. But Jalen Brunson is clearly your best player, and he's a phenomenal talent. But you're not going to win a championship when your best player is a midget. Then you got Karl Anthony Towns, who plays a little bit al dente, as the Italians say with the pasta, a little undercooked. Not going to be as physical as I need him to be. And you saw in the playoffs, there's a level of physicality that's in the postseason that, quite frankly, he didn't show. So now as you talk roster construction, rumor has it that you're in the KD hunt. So now you're trying to get a star, still need to get butts in the seats. And KD is a professional basketball player. He's 37, though, and there's a lot of miles on those tires. So as we look at it, you're poorly built, you're poorly constructed, and yet there's still a window for you to try to compete because Boston is not going to be as good next year because Jason Tatum's not playing, and there's nobody in the East that's going to cause you pause. Cleveland wet the bed, but they should be better, and I'm sure they'll make some tweaks. So sometimes as an administrator, it's just best to do nothing. You didn't have to do anything. And now you're under the watch. And whoever you bring in, as Magic Johnson so eloquently said, when he got rid of Paul Westhead, they won the championship. So I'm done. So now you yell, scream, to holler. Everybody wants minutes until you give them minutes, and then they don't want minutes no more. So good luck to you. Because it's not going to work out, and it rarely ends well. And with that, in segment 3, WNBA, what are we doing, man? We got to do better at promoting. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CK Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the High Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Okay, we got WNBA news and notes. Let's just get this out of the way. Top 5, Minnesota, New York, Atlanta, Phoenix, and Seattle. Outside looking in, Vegas. They might not be on the outside looking in long. And Indiana. All right, so we got 10 games in. We're starting to get a feel for the WNBA. But the WNBA reached its media rights deal to continue airing games on ION. ION will continue to air WNBA regular season games on Friday nights after the league and Scripps reached a multi-year deal. So at least you got a home. Okay. ION began airing WNBA games Friday nights in 2023 with the initial 3-year agreement being worth $13 million annually. I hope you're making more than that. Reason why I bring this up is because at least you know where they're going to be seen. But now, who are we watching? Caitlin Clark was out for 2-3 weeks with an injury, and let's just say not as many people watch. Mike will give us a little more information. But what are we doing? We've got to build up an audience and booking 101 in wrestling. You got to create stars to make people care, and then you got to spread these stars out. Mike, as I share with you the information about the ION deal, at least you got a home so you can find. But, man, if it wasn't Caitlin, it wasn't happening. Tell me your thoughts, sir.
Well, David Stern used to say the finals he wanted was Lakers versus Lakers. And the WNBA, they should be saying we want Caitlin Clark versus Caitlin Clark because she came back and in her first game back from injury put up 32, 8, and 9 and made in 45 seconds she hit 3 threes like 90 something feet. Like it was crazy to watch. And what I've been saying for so long, WNBA, I think they thought they needed to dunk like the NBA does for people to want to watch. But no one cares about barely dunking the ball. Because again, SGA, all the talks about him are, well, he can't be the face of the league. He's not athletic enough. He doesn't have good dunks because he just, that's not his game. But what do people like? They like Steph Curry. This generation likes seeing these crazy threes. That's what Caitlin Clark does. So you could watch her play and you could go, that looks like an NBA game. That's what Dame Lillard does. That's what Steph Curry does. That's fun to see. And she had that like 45-second stretch. And again, it wasn't just that because she dominated that game, but against the previously undefeated New York Liberty. But in that 45 seconds, you watch that and go, that could be Steph Curry 2016, 2017. This is the NBA Finals. Crazy, crazy stuff. That's what they need to be marketing. The stuff that people want to watch in NBA games that is happening in WNBA games. Because I think they were focused on the wrong thing. No one cares about barely a dunk, but I like seeing a 35-foot logo three. That's fun. That's good in both leagues. So when you see things that happen in the NBA, in the WNBA, I think that's why the WNBA can be successful, because the NBA is not really about the crazy dunks anymore like it used to be. It became, thanks to Steph Curry, about the outside shot, and that's where the WNBA can match and to some extent surpass, because the shooting in the WNBA is great. They need to market all those players who can do those things. And right now, Caitlin Clark is your number one. So obviously, if you get her on TV as much as humanly possible, you get your ratings up. And we saw it when she got injured, and the ratings dropped 50% like overnight. And the tickets for the what was it, the Fever and the Chicago Sky, the tickets were like $3. Like, if she wasn't injured, we know those tickets were 100 plus. Like, so it's fun to watch when she's on. She also has a lot of things she needs to calm down with. Like, anytime she passes to a teammate who doesn't pass right back to her, she's like in the middle of the play, and it's like, dude, your team is full of number one picks also. Like, calm down. You're a point shooting guard. You're allowed to let Boston get a shot. Like, come on. Like, come on.
Okay, Robert, you bring levity every week to the show. We need you. When you see the deal on Ion, which at least you know where it is, now you got to tell people where to find it. You saw that the ratings did have a little bit of a dip when she didn't play. You see Paige Beckers is having a great year. How are you looking at this, man? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I don't think I get Ion, because I don't think I've ever watched a game on Ion. And
have you looked?
I just have to look it up what it was.
I Friday night. You know what? I'm gonna have to look. I don't think I get Ion because I watch TV. I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm not going out on the town, so I'm watching TV on Friday night. I should be able to find a WNBA game. Right? So anyway, I think there are a couple of things here. First of all, the Ion T, at least they have a TV deal. Okay. Seems to me like you should aspire to a little more. But I like Mike. I question very often what the WNBA is doing, because yes, you should have the faces of the league on TV as much as possible, and I understand that they are trying to. They don't want to only be the Caitlin Clark League. I get that. And they have other players who are good players whom they can market. But they just do not, to me, they do not do a good job of that. It doesn't speak to me. I haven't seen any Dallas Wings, and granted, I'm 3 hours from Dallas. I haven't seen any Dallas Wings stuff down here at all. No ads, no billboards, nothing. You know, put Paige Beckers on billboards, put her on TV, and get it out there. And I'm not seeing it. And all of it to me is just a missed opportunity.
There is the phrase in education that's often used because it's true. Yes, missed opportunity. I'm a regular guy. I looked and I saw on social media, Caitlin Clark's trending. Now what happened? I saw the clip. Oh man, I put that in the group chat and said, we can't market this. Not only is the team better, so they should be in the playoffs, which means you've got national opportunities to do that. But she did it against New York City. Look at here. So that's bright lights. That's big city. But on the flip side, hey, we can't do the body language piece. I mean, we don't mind a little sassy, a little saucy, but like every time you had your hands in the air, we got to work on that. Hey, and this happens a lot in wrestling as John Cena is moving out. Who is the next one you're handing the baton to? We went from Bruno to Backlund, and then that was 6 years of kind of boring. And then they got Hogan in the red and yellow, say what you want, but the reason why he was in red and yellow is because McDonald's. That's why they put Hogan in red and yellow, because McDonald's is all over the place. And then you had your Austin era, and you this and you that. you got to ride what's hot. You got to make people care. And the WNBA has yet to make me care. And we're trying, when we say on the show, we're trying to care. Now, I do get Ion, and on Friday night, I flip back and forth between women's basketball and SmackDown in the summer. Okay. But yeah, we've got to do something. Mike, any closing comments?
Man, sports are star leagues, and you actually have stars. Like, and you got stars coming. Like, you got a wave of stars. So you go from Caitlin to Paige, and college is loaded with stars
who are staying in school to build up brand.
Yeah, or got injured and will have to come back. Like, but the best might even be yet to come. You got Caitlin Clark, who's the face of the league, and the best might be yet to come at USC. So, like, boy, it's a good time to be the commissioner. Don't screw it up. And so far, you're screwing it up.
Robert, close us out, sir.
No, I'm with Mike, man. The bun is next. Bring Juju, but and then after that, there's more. There's more. Women's basketball is getting so much better. The quality of play is better. The bigs are better. They shoot the ball better than the men. Let's be honest. Overall,
yeah, Coach Johnson says that often.
Overall, they shoot the ball better than the men. They run better offense than the men. And I mean, we know that. Make the people watching know that.
Yeah. All right. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, also seen on the Cascade Sports Network. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.